Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a special guest. It's my boss, my mentor, my best friend, Susan Yara.
Hello guys.
And today she's gonna give me a little bit of a wedding timeline to follow.
Yeah.
Because one of the first things I did when I got engaged was like, oh, I wanna do this and this and this and this. And then she was like, you don't need to do that yet. So
calm down. That was exactly what I said to her. I say this all the time. It sounds like it's like a very old lady thing to say, like a woman who's been married for almost a decade. But it's like, I feel like when you get engaged, it's the best time of your relationship. Like literally, I don't think your relationship gets any better than it is at this very moment. Because
so things to look forward to.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I say that because it truly is. This is like the only time in your relationship where it's truly about you two coming together and celebrating literally you.
Us.
You know, like you together, you know, like joining forces.
Well,
And
I would say though, I wasn't like wanting to plan things out of like stress. It was just out of excitement.
I mean, and that makes sense, but at the same time, you want to calm down. You don't want to turn into a bridezilla, right? Like that. It's like it starts with excitement and then it turns into bridezilla. You know, it turns into like everything needs to be perfectly the way it needs to be, and this is I've been planning it for over a year. You know, like that kind of thing.
That's true, actually.
Yeah. So it's like you almost need to like take a step back, just enjoy the moment, soak it in, and you also don't want to stress out your fiance because guys tend to not be like us. Like I actually found with my husband, he was like pumped about planning a wedding and all that stuff, but they don't feel that urgency that we feel, you know?
Yeah. Like my fiance, he was like, you're really stressing me out. Like, why do we have to do this right now? And I was just like, I just want to like pick a venue. Like, that's all I want to do. And then he's just like, why can't we just like enjoy this? I'm just really excited.
Yeah. So I think step one truly, obviously, is to get engaged, obviously.
Yeah.
But step two, I think choosing a venue is actually the next thing that you should
Well,
do.
I think step two is more choosing the date, right?
Well, no, because I do think that choosing a venue helps you choose the day.
That's true.
Because it's
so
sometimes
like together.
Yeah, because sometimes it's like if you choose like a popular venue, for instance, it might have like a wait list. Like you might find out that the venue you really wanted has like a 2-year wait list, which is actually it really does happen. Or even like, you know, some people don't even know where they want to get married, right? Like you were kind of torn between Hawaii and Minnesota. So it's like kind of. I mean, I think we knew you were going to end up in Hawaii.
Yeah.
But
I entertained the thought of Minnesota.
Yeah. But if you would have, you know, like I know I've had friends that, or even for us, for instance, we didn't know where we were going to get married at first. So it's like you have to think about where you want to get married, right? And then find the venue, and that venue is going to have dates that they're available.
I have a date and I have a venue on hold. What do I do next? Do I need to do anything?
So I think the next thing you need to do is put together a budget. Mm-hmm. And the best way to do a budget, and this is actually going to like really help like satisfy that need to do something, and that's to put together a list of the things that you want at your wedding and that you're going to have to pay for. I personally am not an Excel spreadsheet person, but in this case I would recommend one, like putting together just a really simple Excel spreadsheet. And it's like number one, venue, number two, because you have to have a venue, right? Like
right.
you have to. Even if it's a venue you're not going to pay for, you have to like put venue anyway, because there are going to be expenses associated with some kind of venue.
Right, so like tents and
chairs, tables, all going to have right?
Yeah.
So then you got to like really start to list all those things out. Things that you have to think about are like wedding dress. You're gonna have to think about photographer. Do you want a videographer?
I was shocked by how much things cost just when I was just shopping around looking at things. Like I couldn't believe that in Hawaii, at least, like it's like they all are in cahoots and they all decided that the photographers were all gonna be at least $3,000.
Well, I think this is the wedding industry in general.
Yeah.
Is that everything is so super expensive nowadays for weddings. It's this huge, I mean, it's a booming industry.
Yeah, it's like billions, trillions of dollars.
It has gotten so unbelievably ridiculous. Like I sometimes think back on my wedding and I'm like, oh, I wish I could do like a do-over, because there's so many fun, awesome options now.
And actually, there's a video on Susan's channel where she does like a wedding do-over.
A little wedding do-over, and Anna Red is with me in this video. You know, like when you put together this list of all the things you need, it also helps you just visualize it. It helps you put that budget together, helps you knock a few things off, and then it just really helps give you perspective on everything. Putting together your wedding list.
When should I do that? Like
I think that's another, like, if you have like this like anxiety and you want to like get going on things, the next possible thing to do is to work on your wedding list, your guest list, because it's the same thing with the budget. You're gonna get an idea of all the people that you think you like love and have to have at your wedding. And then you're gonna start to get a better idea, right? Like once you put together this budget, how much does that person really need to be on the A list, you know, of like your guest invites? And because you're gonna have to eventually knock it down, whether that's because the venue only allows a certain amount of people, or whether your budget only allows a certain amount of people for you to pay for, like that kind of stuff. So that's like the next thing for you to do. And after you do that, the next thing that you can possibly do is to start trying on wedding dresses.
Where in the timeline?
So you've got more than a year. You've got almost like a year and a half to plan your wedding. So I would say like you should casually start looking for a dress now, because it starts to give you.
I did.
Yeah, of course you did, you guys. It gives you an idea of what you want to start looking for. It maybe even starts to give you an idea of what you want to spend on a dress. Like you're starting to get like that idea. And then I'd say like the absolute latest you should pick a dress is like 10 months before the wedding.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was actually kind of good that I went and tried on dresses, because they were telling me like how long it was going to take to even just make the dress. Like it was probably going to be like 4 months. And then you need time for like alterations.
Yeah, they go through like 3 alterations with you.
Yeah. So then, you know, that was looking at least like probably 7 months to be safe. My initial thought was like, if I pick a dress a year ahead, how do I know if I'm going to like it?
You'll still like it.
Yeah.
You'll still like it. By the way, all that noise back there, you guys, is my 2-year-old. He's like going off. He's having a good time.
Really good time throwing things off the stairs.
And then the next few things that you want to do, you want to book a photographer.
When?
Probably, again, like, so once you hit the year mark is when you should start to get serious, because this is when the popular stuff starts to get booked. I personally find photography to be the most important thing of the wedding, because it's what you're going to end up with, right? So really popular, really good photographers book up a year in advance too, sometimes 2 years in advance. So you want to then move into picking your photographer, and then somewhere in like the 10-month mark, you want to start looking at things like booking like a band or a DJ, like that kind of stuff. Again, the popular ones get booked up. And then from there is when you start to like go down your list and you start to narrow the things down, right? If you're not going to go with a wedding planner, you need to find somebody who's going to be your wedding coordinator. Yeah, because that's
actually
also
our venue
a big deal.
like requires a coordinator.
It makes sense because it's like you're too busy and you don't want to like have one of your friends or family members be the coordinator.
Yeah, and it actually says in the fine print, coordinator cannot be a friend or family member.
Yeah, it has to be a professional. You absolutely need a coordinator for your wedding. Yeah. And again, the good ones book up. When you move into about like the 7 to 6 month mark, maybe even just a little bit sooner, maybe like 8 months, 7 months, you want to start doing food tastings so that you can figure out what's going to be served at your wedding. That's always I think that's super fun.
Is there anything that happens like
closer to?
Yeah.
I think by like the 6 month mark, you should have everything pretty much figured out. Oh, I didn't even talk about your invitations and save the date. We talked about save the dates, but like your invitations, you want to start looking at that like fairly early in, and I think that's like,
because so if I'm not sending my save the dates out until like 8 months before, then when do I send out my invitation?
I would send your invitation out like 6 months before. Because by that point, again, you've got now the hotel block, you've probably got like a registry that you've got started, you've got your website together.
I feel like that was helpful. I feel like I'm still like antsy to plan things.
I mean, that's natural. You're just excited.
Yeah. I'm excited, and I channel my excitement into planning.
Put it on paper. Put it on paper. That's like the best thing you can do is like just channel it all onto like your computer screen. I think setting your budget is going to really help you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like you might be like collecting all these images of like the flowers you want, and then you're like, I guess I'll cut down on flowers. And then suddenly you like wasted all that time like looking at different flowers and stuff. It's like, you know, you want to put that budget together because it's going to give you a real idea of like what you're going to spend.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your help. I'm going to be talking to her. She's basically my wedding planner, I think. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to follow along. I'm going to be posting videos showing my wedding planning journey, and check out Susan's video where she talks about what she wished she did differently for her wedding. And we'll see you next time.